11:47 on a Thursday night. Rain hammering Portland windows. A single dad scrolling a dating app he barely believes in anymore, eyes burning from another late shift editing photos that won't pay rent. His thumb moves. Half asleep. Careless. The notification dings like a gunshot in the dark. The profile name makes his stomach drop through the floor. Ava Hart, his ex-wife's younger sister, the woman who sat silent at his custody hearings, who watched him get labeled the villain in a divorce that nearly broke him, who knew secrets that could rewrite everything he thought was true about his failed marriage, and she just sent him a message. So, you're interested. This is not a story about accidents. This is about what happens when one careless swipe tears open 3 years of carefully constructed lies. About a 6-year-old who becomes the moral compass when adults lose their way. About choosing courage over comfort even when your ex-wife's entire family wants you destroyed. What comes next will challenge everything you think you know about second chances. Drop a comment with where you are watching from. Hit that like button. And buckle up. This story goes places you will not expect. The phone stays face down on his desk until morning. Ethan does not sleep. He watches Portland rain turn Burnside Street into a river of headlights and wonders how a single notification can detonate 3 years of carefully maintained distance. By 6 a.m., the sky shifts from black to bruised purple, and he hears Maya stirring in the bedroom they share because his one-bedroom apartment in southeast Portland is all he can afford on a photographer's income that stopped being an income 6 months ago. She appears in his doorway wearing mismatched pajamas and bedhead that defies physics. Her hair sticks up in 7 different directions. She is 5 years old and reads his moods with the accuracy of a card counter in Vegas. "Dad," she says, climbing into his lap without invitation. "You look like someone stole your ice cream but also gave you new ice cream, but the new ice cream is mint and you hate mint." Ethan tries to laugh. The sound catches in his throat and comes out wrong. Mint is very divisive, he manages. Maya pats his cheek with a sticky hand. "It is okay to not like mint. You can just say so. You do not have to pretend." The wisdom of 5-year-olds continues to devastate him on a daily basis. He makes her breakfast. Scrambled eggs that are slightly too dry and toast with peanut butter cut into triangles because she will not eat rectangles today. She sits at their small kitchen table, swinging her legs from the booster seat she insists she does not need but cannot reach the table without. The apartment around them tells the story Ethan tries not to think about too hard. Dishes in the sink from 2 days ago. His photography equipment taking up half the living room that should be a living room but functions as studio/storage/reminder of better days. Invoices spread across the kitchen counter stamped "past due" in red ink that matches the color of his checking account balance. The Honda Civic needs new brakes. The landlord sent an email last week about rent being late again. His biggest client canceled yesterday, citing budget cuts, which is corporate speak for "we found someone cheaper." He has $17 in his wallet, and a daughter who needs new shoes because her toes are pressing against the front of her current ones in a way that makes him feel like he is failing at the most basic requirements of parenthood. Maya chatters about kindergarten drama. A boy named Jackson eats paste. A girl named Sophie has a backpack shaped like a unicorn, and apparently this is a big deal socially speaking. Ethan makes listening sounds while his mind loops back to the phone on his desk. Ava Hart. He has not seen her in person since the divorce finalized 3 years ago. Before that, she existed on the periphery of his marriage to Chloe, the younger sister who went to art school in Seattle. The one who came home for holidays with paint under her fingernails and opinions about film photography that Ethan secretly agreed with but never voiced because Chloe called her pretentious, and he had learned early that agreeing with anyone in Chloe's family except Chloe herself was a tactical error. The custody exchange happens at 9. Chloe arrives in her white Audi, wearing athleisure that costs more than his monthly grocery budget and an expression that communicates disappointment without requiring words. She inspects Maya like a general reviewing troops. The hair tie is crooked. Did he let her dress herself again? That sweater does not match those pants. Maya needs structure, Ethan. Not a friend. He nods, agrees, takes the criticism because fighting means lawyers and lawyers mean money he does not have, and also because some part of him still believes Chloe might be right. Maybe he is failing. Maybe he is not enough. Maybe the story she tells about their marriage is the true one, and his memory is just elaborate self-deception. Chloe's apartment in the Pearl District rises behind her like evidence of everything he could not provide. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Doorman, parking garage. She made senior marketing director 8 months ago. Her LinkedIn profile describes her as a dynamic leader driving innovative solutions in the digital space. His LinkedIn profile has not been updated since 2019 and still lists him as owner of a photography studio that exists primarily in his living room. Maya hugs him goodbye. Whispers in his ear, "I love you more than unicorn backpacks." He holds her tight. Whispers back, "That is a lot of love." After they leave, he sits in his car for 10 minutes doing breathing exercises a therapist taught him 2 years ago when panic attacks were happening weekly. The exercises help. Mostly. He drives back to his apartment and the phone is still there on his desk where he left it. Still face down. Still containing a message from a woman who should not be messaging him. He picks it up, opens the app. Ava's profile loads with the slow inevitability of a car crash you can see coming but cannot avoid. 3 photos. In the first, she stands on a hiking trail somewhere aggressively Pacific Northwest. Trees, mountains. That specific quality of light that happens in Oregon when the clouds break for exactly 7 minutes. Her hair is longer than he remembers. Blonde with natural wave. She is smiling, but her eyes are careful. Guarded, like someone who has learned that cameras lie. The second photo shows her at a brewery, laughing with friends who have been cropped out of frame. He can see the edges of other people, arms, shoulders, the negative space of company. She is wearing a green sweater and holding a pint glass and looks genuinely happy in a way that makes him wonder what happened in the seconds before the photo was taken. The third is a selfie in what looks like a studio. Paint-smudged overalls, hair pulled back. She is looking directly at the camera with an expression that feels like a challenge, like she is daring you to see past the obvious. Her bio reads, painter, coffee snob, enjoys the idea of hiking more than actual hiking, seeking someone who knows the difference between alone and lonely. Ethan reads it 3 times. Then he does what any reasonable person would do when confronted with a situation that violates every boundary of social acceptability. He panics. He types a message, deletes it, types another, deletes that too, tries a third variation that sounds simultaneously too casual and too formal. Deletes everything and stares at the blank text field like it might offer guidance. Finally, he settles on honesty because lying seems pointless. I was exhausted. Thumb slipped. Did not mean to be weird, sorry. He hits send before he can reconsider, then immediately regrets it. Then considers deleting the app entirely. Then realizes you cannot unsend messages, and also what would deleting accomplish except making him look even more unstable. 3 dots appear. His heart does something arrhythmic. The dots disappear, reappear, disappear again. He is about to throw his phone across the room when her response arrives. An accident, ouch. Guess my hiking photos failed to convey my deep spiritual connection to nature. Something in his chest unclenches. He reads the message twice. There is humor in it. Warmth, an opening instead of a door slammed shut. He types back quickly before he can overthink. Do you actually like hiking or just the aesthetic? Her response comes faster this time. I like the photos of me pretending to like hiking. The outdoors are very photogenic. From inside, he laughs. Actually, laughs. It is the first time in weeks that the sound has felt real instead of performed. They fall into conversation with an ease that surprises him. She asks about his photography. He admits business is slow, which is a dramatic understatement, but she does not push. Instead, she says the market is brutal. Everyone with an iPhone thinks they are Ansel Adams. But you shoot film right, I remember Chloe complaining about the cost. This stops him cold. She remembers. They exchanged maybe 10 words total during his entire marriage. Polite nothings at family dinners where he felt like an anthropologist observing a species he would never fully understand. He did not think she noticed anything about him beyond his status as the guy who married her sister. Yeah, he types. Film is expensive. But digital feels too easy, too perfect. I like the grain, the mistakes, Ava. Mistakes are where the truth lives. They text throughout the day. Nothing heavy. Nothing that acknowledges the fundamental strangeness of this interaction. She sends him a meme about Portland rain. He sends back a photo of his coffee mug with the caption, Day 47 of Gray Skies. Sanity holding at 60%. She responds with only 60, ambitious. The next day, she sends him an article about a photographer using expired film stock to shoot portraits of strangers. He reads it during Maya's nap time at Chloe's and feels something he has not felt in years. Seen. Like someone is paying attention to what he actually cares about instead of what they think he should care about. They argue about pineapple on pizza with the intensity of people debating foreign policy. She is firmly against. He defends it on principle, even though he does not particularly like it either. Neither convinces the other, but both enjoy the fight. It feels like play. Like the early days with Chloe before everything became a referendum on his adequacy. A week passes, then 2. The messages become routine. Good morning texts, photos of interesting light. Maya starts asking why he is smiling at his phone. He tells her he is talking to a friend. She asks if the friend knows about dragons. He says probably. What surprises Ethan most is how easy this is. Talking to Ava requires no performance, no careful editing of himself into shapes that might be more acceptable. When he mentions Maya, she asks real questions, not the perfunctory kind people ask when they are waiting for their turn to talk. She wants to know what Maya is like, what makes her laugh, whether she inherited his eye for composition. He sends her a photo Maya took with his old point-and-shoot, a blurry close-up of a dandelion. Ava responds. She is seeing the world at her scale. That is good photography. 3 weeks in, Ethan gets brave, or stupid. The line between the two has always been thin. He suggests a phone call, immediately regrets it. Starts to type a follow-up that walks it back. But Ava responds before he can. Tonight after 10. His apartment feels too small when the call connects. He stands on his balcony, watching rain turn southeast Portland into a watercolor. Her voice comes through clear and intimate. Like she is standing next to him instead of across town in her apartment near Powell's books that he has never seen but imagines based on her profile. Organized, good light, plants that are actually alive. They talk for an hour. Then 2. The conversation flows like they have been doing this for years instead of weeks. Ava tells him about teaching art to middle schoolers, about the kid who only draws tanks with increasing levels of detail, about the girl who paints exclusively in shades of purple and gets offended if you call it lavender or violet. It has to be purple. Specificity matters. Ethan talks about the wedding he shot last month, how the bride cried when he showed her the photo he caught of her grandmother watching her walk down the aisle, how that one moment made him remember why he started doing this in the first place. Ava asks about the divorce, not the details, just how he is doing now. 3 years out, He finds himself telling the truth instead of the version he usually offers, that he still does not understand what happened, that Chloe made it clear he was the problem, but he cannot identify what he did wrong beyond existing incorrectly, that he has spent 3 years wondering if he imagined the good parts of his marriage or if she did. Ava is quiet for a long moment. He can hear her breathing. Rain on her end, too. Finally, she says, "There is something I should have said years ago." His hand tightens on the phone. The city noise fades into background static. He waits. Ava's voice shifts, gets smaller, almost frightened, but she does not finish the thought. The silence stretches. "Then I'm glad your thumb slipped, even if it was an accident." Ethan's throat is dry. He swallows, says the thing he has been thinking for days. Maybe it was not an accident. Maybe I was just waiting for permission to choose something I wanted. The call ends sometime after midnight. He lies in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to rain and wondering what she was going to say. What secret she almost told him. What truth has been waiting 3 years to surface. His phone buzzes. One last message from Ava. "Coffee tomorrow." There's a place in Alberta Arts with good light. He types yes before he can list all the reasons this is a terrible idea, before he can catalog the ways this could go wrong, before fear has time to masquerade as wisdom. The cafe in Alberta Arts sits on a corner where the neighborhood still pretends to be gritty but cannot hide the creep of gentrification. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs, a chalkboard menu listing coffee drinks with names like Rainy Day Redemption and Existential Americano. Ethan arrives 15 minutes early because punctuality is the last refuge of the anxious. He parks down the street and sits in his Honda watching people pass. Dog walkers, runners in expensive gear, a woman pushing a stroller while talking on her phone about real estate prices. His heart is doing something irregular. He checked his reflection in the rearview mirror 3 times and still cannot decide if he looks presentable or like someone who has not slept properly in weeks. Both things are true. He is wearing his least wrinkled button-down shirt and jeans without holes. This feels significant. Like he is trying. Like this matters. At exactly 2 p.m. he walks inside. The cafe smells like coffee and rain-soaked wool. Ava is already there, sitting at a corner table beneath a black and white photograph of Mount Hood. She is wearing a white blouse that looks casual and intentional simultaneously. Her hair is pulled back in a way that makes her look older than he remembers. More serious. She sees him and waves. The gesture is small, uncertain. He walks over, feeling like he is approaching the edge of something he cannot see the bottom of. They order coffee from a barista with a nose ring and visible anxiety who takes their order with the enthusiasm of someone fulfilling a court-mandated community service requirement. Ethan gets a pour-over he does not need. Ava orders a cappuccino and specifies the temperature. They sit across from each other at a small table that forces their knees to almost touch. The proximity feels deliberate, dangerous. The first few minutes are stilted. They make observations about the weather, comment on the cafe's overpriced pastries, discuss the photograph of Mount Hood with the depth of people avoiding what they actually need to say. Ava's fingers tap against her cup. Ethan's leg bounces under the table. The silence between words gets heavier. Then Ava sets down her cup with a deliberateness that signals a shift in tone. The lightness drains from her face. She looks at him with something that might be fear or courage or both. "I need to tell you something," she says. About Chloe, about what really happened. Ethan's body goes still in the way prey animals freeze when they sense predators. His coffee is too hot. The chair is too hard. The cafe is too bright. Everything sharpens into uncomfortable focus. For 3 years, he has carried a specific narrative. The marriage failed because he was not enough. Not ambitious enough. Not social enough. not present enough even when he was physically there. Chloe made this clear during the divorce. Her family reinforced it with cold shoulders and careful distances at custody exchanges. Her mother stopped making eye contact. Her father started sentences with phrases like, "if you had just tried harder." Even their mutual friends chose sides, and most chose hers because she told a better story. She was the one who stayed when things got hard. He was the one who gave up. He learned to accept this version because fighting it meant fighting everyone, and he had already lost too much. So he became the villain in his own marriage. The struggling artist who could not provide. The absent father even when he was home. The man who stopped trying because trying meant failing, and failing meant confirming what everyone already believed. Ava looks at him now with eyes that are too bright. Her composure is cracking around the edges like ice under weight. Chloe was not alone, she says. In those last 2 years of your marriage, she was seeing someone. We all knew. My parents knew. I knew. We made you the villain because it was easier than admitting she was human and flawed and scared of being the one who failed. The words land like stones in water. They sink slowly. Ethan hears them but cannot immediately process their meaning. The cafe sounds fade into white noise. Somewhere, a espresso machine hisses. A chair scrapes tile. His own breathing is too loud in his ears. How long he manages. The words come out rough, unfinished. How long did you know? Ava's face does something complicated. Pain, shame, something that looks like it has been waiting years to surface. 18 months before you filed. I saw the texts on her phone at Thanksgiving. She left it on the counter while helping Mom with dinner. I picked it up to bring it to her, and the screen lit up with a message from someone named David. It was not subtle. It was not something you could misinterpret. The cafe tilts slightly. Ethan grips the edge of the table. His coffee is getting cold. He does not drink it. Cannot drink it. Cannot do anything except sit here while his understanding of the last 5 years gets rewritten in real time. I did not say anything, Ava continues. Her voice is getting quieter, tighter. None of us did. We let you twist in the wind because family comes first and you were not family. Not really. Not in the way that mattered to people like my parents. So we protected her. We let her tell the story that made her the victim. And you became the man who could not keep his wife happy. She's crying now, not dramatically, just tears tracking down her face while she talks. Ethan watches her cry and feels nothing except a strange sense of vertigo. Like the floor beneath him has been replaced with something less solid. The marriage ended 3 years ago, but the story of the marriage is apparently still being written, still being edited, still full of revisions he was not consulted on. I'm sorry, Ava says. The words sound genuine in a way apologies rarely do. I have carried this for so long. Every time Maya came up in conversation, every time my mother talked about how hard it must be for poor Chloe to co-parent with someone so unreliable, I wanted to scream, but I stayed quiet because that is what we do in my family. We stay quiet and we keep the peace and we make sure the story we tell the world is the one that makes us look good. Ethan still cannot speak. His throat is closed. His hands are shaking. He puts them in his lap where she cannot see. Part of him wants to stand up and walk out. Part of him wants to rage, flip the table, demand explanations that will never satisfy. But there is another part, smaller, newer, that feels something like relief. He has spent 3 years questioning his own memory, wondering if he imagined the distance in his marriage. The way Chloe stopped looking at him months before she asked for the divorce. The way she flinched when he touched her. The way she started working late with increasing frequency. The way she blamed him for her unhappiness with such conviction that he started to believe it too. Now he knows. He was not crazy. He was not imagining things. He was just being systematically lied to by everyone who claimed to care about the truth. Why, he finally says, why tell me now? Why not just let it stay buried? Ava wipes her face with the back of her hand, reaches for a napkin, takes a breath that shudders. Because I am done being a coward. And because you deserve to know that the story you have been telling yourself is wrong. You were not the failure. You were just the convenient one to blame. They sit in silence that is not comfortable but not hostile. Other people in the cafe continue their conversations. Someone laughs. A baby cries. The world keeps moving while Ethan's understanding of his own past gets dismantled and rebuilt. He thinks about Maya, about the custody agreement that gives Chloe primary placement because the mediator believed she was the more stable parent, about the way he has to justify every parenting decision to a woman who lied to him for years, about the narrative he has internalized so deeply that he apologizes for existing. Did she love him? Ethan asks, this David person. Ava shakes her head. I do not think so. I think it was about feeling wanted. Feeling seen. She said once, after too much wine at Christmas, that you stopped looking at her. That you were so focused on your photography and your failures that you forgot she needed attention too. The accusation stings because it might be partially true. He did withdraw. He did focus on work. But he withdrew because every time he tried to connect, she met him with criticism. Every conversation became a referendum on his inadequacy. Every attempt at intimacy was rejected with reasons that made him feel like he was imposing. So, yes, he stopped trying. He stopped looking. Because being ignored felt better than being seen and found lacking. But he does not say this. Instead, he asks, who else knows? That you are telling me. No one, Ava says. This is not some family intervention. This is me trying to do the right thing 3 years too late. I do not expect forgiveness. I do not expect anything except maybe for you to understand that you were not the problem. The problem was us. All of us. Protecting a lie because the truth was inconvenient. Ethan drinks his cold coffee. It tastes like metal and regret. He looks at Ava, really looks at her. She is not Chloe, does not look like her beyond the basic family resemblance. Chloe is sharp angles and careful control. Ava is softer, more uncertain, like someone still figuring out who she wants to be. Thank you, he says finally, for telling me, even if it is 3 years late. Ava nods, attempts a smile that does not quite work. So, what now? Ethan considers this. The reasonable thing would be to end this here. Thank her for the information. Process it alone. Maintain appropriate boundaries with his ex-wife's sister. But reasonable stopped mattering the moment his thumb swiped right. Now he says, I think we finish our coffee. And maybe we stop pretending this is just about correcting the historical record. Ava's expression shifts. Surprise, hope, fear. I was not sure you would want to see me again. After learning I was complicit. You or Ethan agrees, but you are also the only person in 3 years who has told me the truth. That counts for something. They stay at the cafe for another hour. The conversation shifts away from Chloe and the past. They talk about Portland, about the neighborhoods they love, and the ones that have changed beyond recognition. Ava tells him about her painting, about the series she is working on that explores memory and how it shifts over time, how the same event can be remembered differently by different people, and both versions can be true and false simultaneously. Ethan tells her about Maya, about the way she narrates her entire life like she is the protagonist in a story only she can see, about how she asked him last week if he was sad or just thinking, and when he said thinking, she replied that sometimes thinking looks like sad, and he should be more careful. Ava laughs. It is a real laugh. Unguarded. She has a good laugh, the kind that makes other people want to join in. When they finally leave the cafe, the rain has stopped. The street is slick and shining. They stand on the sidewalk in that awkward moment of departure where neither wants to be the first to leave. "Can we do this again?" Ava asks, not to talk about Chloe, just to talk. Ethan nods, yes. "I would like that." They do not hug, do not touch, just exchange a look that contains more honesty than most physical contact. Then they walk to their separate cars and drive to their separate lives, and Ethan feels lighter than he has in years. Over the next 2 weeks, they fall into a pattern. Coffee becomes lunch, becomes walks around Laurelhurst Park. They circle the lake in the late afternoon when the light turns everything gold. Ava points out birds whose names she learned from an app. Ethan takes photos on his phone of the way shadows fall across water. They do not talk about Chloe unless necessary. Instead, they build something new, a friendship that feels like it might be more, but neither pushes. Ava tells him about teaching, about the bureaucracy that makes her want to quit weekly, about the student who draws only in black and refuses to use color because color is dishonest, about the staff meetings where people argue about things that do not matter, while the things that do matter go unaddressed. Ethan tells her about his studio, about the client who asked him to Photoshop her to look 20 pounds lighter, and he did it and hated himself, about the weddings he shoots where he can see the marriage failing in real time, about the fear that he has wasted years pursuing something he is mediocre at. Ava does not offer empty reassurance. She listens, asks questions, challenges him when he is being unfair to himself. She has a way of cutting through his self-deprecation without being cruel. When he says he is a failed artist, she corrects him. "You are an artist in a brutal market. That is not the same as failing." One evening, they sit on a bench watching ducks negotiate territory disputes. The sun is setting in that specific way it does in the Pacific Northwest. All orange and purple and impossibly beautiful, Ava says without looking at him. This is probably a terrible idea. Ethan knows what she means without asking. Yes, he agrees, probably. Your sister, my ex-wife, the family that already hates me. Maya in the middle of everything. All the reasons this should not happen are good reasons. They are, Ava says. But I am tired of making decisions based on what other people think. I have spent 32 years being the good daughter. The one who does not make waves, who keeps family secrets, who sacrifices what she wants for the sake of peace. And I am done. She turns to look at him. Her eyes are very blue. "What do you want?" she asks. Ethan does not hesitate. This, you. Whatever this is or could be, even if it is complicated. Especially if it is complicated. They kiss for the first time with the sunset behind them and ducks watching judgmentally. It is not fireworks. It is better. It is honest. It is choosing something because you want it, not because it is easy. When they break apart, Ava is smiling. "So we are doing this. We are doing this," Ethan confirms. They decide to be careful, intentional. No grand announcements. No forcing Maya into something she is not ready for. They will take it slow. See where it goes. Keep it private until they are sure. The secret lasts exactly 11 days. It ends on a Saturday morning at Powell's Books. Ethan brings Maya to spend her allowance on picture books. She has been saving for weeks and has $7.34 that she carries in a Ziploc bag. She wants books about dragons, specifically friendly dragons who solve problems without violence because she has opinions about conflict resolution. They are in the children's section. Maya is debating between two books with equal intensity when Ethan sees her. Ava, standing near the graphic novels, looking at something on her phone. She has not seen them yet. He could leave, steer Maya in another direction, maintain the careful separation they agreed on. But Maya looks up, follows his gaze, points with the directness of children who have not learned about subtlety. Dad, who is that lady? She looks like someone who knows about dragons. Ethan's heart stops. Before he can respond, Maya is already walking over, 5 years old and fearless. She tugs on Ava's sleeve. "Excuse me, do you know about dragons?" Ava looks down. Her face goes through several emotions in rapid succession. Surprise, fear, recognition. Then she kneels down to Maya's height and says with complete seriousness, "I know about blue dragons specifically. They only eat worries. Do you have worries?" Maya considers this with the gravity of a Supreme Court justice weighing evidence. "My dad has lots of worries. Can your dragons eat his worries?" Ava glances up at Ethan. Their eyes meet. Something passes between them. A decision made in silence. She looks back at Maya. "I think my dragons would be very happy to help with that." Maya beams. She reaches out and takes Ava's hand like they have known each other forever. "Come, help me pick dragon books. You are an expert." They spend the next hour in the children's section. Ava reads summaries aloud. Maya provides commentary on which dragons look friendly versus mean. Ethan watches them together and feels his chest do something that might be hope or might be terror. Probably both. They end up buying 3 books and a stuffed blue dragon that Maya names Worry Eater. As they walk to the car, Maya holds both their hands, swings between them, talks about how Worry Eater is going to live on her bed and protect her from bad dreams, and also eat all of Dad's worries so he can smile more. At the car, Ava kneels down again. "Maya," she says gently, "I am going to see your dad again. Is that okay with you?" Maya tilts her head. "Like on dates." "Yes," Ava says, "like on dates." Maya considers this. "Will you still help with my dragons?" "Always," Ava promises. "Then it is okay," Maya declares. "But you have to come to my birthday party. It is in 3 weeks. There will be cake." Ava laughs. "I would not miss it." After Maya is buckled in and busy making Worry Eater fight an imaginary bad guy, Ava and Ethan stand by the driver's side door. "That just happened," Ethan says. "That just happened," Ava agrees. She is terrifying, in the best way. "We should talk," Ethan says, "about what this means, about how we do this." Ava nods. "Tonight, after she is asleep." That night, they sit on Ethan's balcony with Portland spread below them. The city hums its usual song. Sirens, music from bars. The constant whisper of rain threatening but not yet falling. Maya is asleep inside with Worry Eater tucked under her arm. "We need rules," Ava says. "Boundaries. This is not just about us anymore." Ethan agrees. They make a list. No hiding, but no forcing. They will tell Maya the truth in age-appropriate ways. They will not speak badly about Chloe regardless of how they feel. They will put Maya's emotional well-being above their own desires. If this gets too complicated, if it starts hurting her, they will stop. Ava adds one more. "We tell each other the truth, always, even when it is hard." Especially when it is hard. No more family secrets. Ethan takes her hand. "I am choosing this. Choosing you. Not by accident. On purpose." Ava kisses him. It tastes like commitment and courage and the kind of decision that cannot be unmade. "Good," she says. "Because I am choosing you too." They sit together, watching the city lights reflect in puddles that might become rain. Inside, Maya sleeps with her dragon protector. Above them, clouds gather. Tomorrow they will have to tell Chloe. Tomorrow the complications will begin. But tonight they have this moment of choosing each other before the world gets a vote. Maya names her the Dragon Lady on their second bookstore meeting and refuses all attempts at correction. Ethan tries explaining that her actual name is Ava, and maybe they should use that. Maya looks at him with the patient exasperation of someone dealing with a particularly slow student. That is what I said, Dad. The Dragon Lady. It is her name because she has the dragons that eat worries. Names are about what people do not, what their parents picked. Ava laughs so hard she has to sit down on the children's section carpet. When she recovers, she tells Maya that Dragon Lady is actually a very prestigious title, and she will wear it with honor. Maya nods with satisfaction. Good, because I do not give prestigious titles to just anyone. They build a routine, slowly, carefully, like people constructing something from glass that could shatter if handled wrong. Saturday mornings at the farmers market on Portland State University campus. Ava meets them there as if by accident, except Maya has figured out that accidents that happen every week are actually plans. She does not seem to mind. She holds Ava's hand while they browse vegetable stands and argues passionately about whether tomatoes are vegetables or fruits, and why adults are wrong about most classification systems. Ava buys her a small pumpkin in early October. Maya names it Gerald and insists it has feelings and must be treated with respect. Gerald rides in the front seat on the way home with a seatbelt. Ethan catches Ava's eye in the rearview mirror. She is trying not to laugh. He is failing at the same task. Sunday afternoons become walk days. Laurelhurst Park, mostly, but sometimes the waterfront or the Japanese garden when Ethan can afford the admission. Maya collects leaves and rocks and interesting sticks. She creates elaborate stories about where each item came from. This rock is from a mountain that used to be a giant. This leaf belonged to a tree that knows secrets. Ava listens with the attention most people reserve for important business meetings. She asks follow-up questions. Wants to know what secrets the tree knows, whether the giant misses being tall. Maya starts bringing her collection to show and tell at school. Tells her class that the Dragon Lady helps her understand nature. Her teacher sends a note home asking about this Dragon Lady person and whether she is a licensed educator. Ethan writes back explaining she is a friend of the family who teaches middle school art. The teacher seems satisfied. Maya is offended that anyone would question the Dragon Lady's credentials. 3 weeks after the bookstore meeting, Ava comes to their apartment for the first time. Maya insisted. They are making Halloween decorations, and the Dragon Lady knows about art, so obviously she needs to be there. Ethan cleans for 2 hours before she arrives. Hides the really embarrassing clutter. Puts dishes in cabinets where they might actually belong. Discovers he owns a vacuum. Ava shows up with supplies. Construction paper, safety scissors, glue sticks that actually have glue in them unlike the dried-out ones Ethan bought at the dollar store last year. She spreads everything on the kitchen table and teaches Maya to cut bats and ghosts and cats with arched backs. Maya's cutting is enthusiastic but not precise. The bats look drunk. The ghosts appear to be melting. Ava praises every creation with genuine enthusiasm. That ghost has real personality. Look at how your bat is flying in a different direction from all the other bats. That shows independent thinking. Ethan makes coffee and watches them work. Ava catches him staring, raises an eyebrow. What she mouths. He shakes his head. Nothing, everything. He cannot explain that watching her with his daughter is rewriting his understanding of what family could look like. Maya glues her creations to construction paper with approximately 7 times more glue than necessary. While it dries, Ava teaches her to mix paint colors, shows her how red and yellow make orange, how blue and yellow make green. Maya is reverent. She whispers when she stirs the colors together like she is performing magic, which in a way she is, making something new from things that existed separately. Ava gets it, does not laugh or condescend, just guides Maya's hand and lets her discover. They paint until Maya's hands are more paint than skin, until the kitchen table looks like a crime scene, until Maya declares she is starving and might die if she does not eat immediately. Ava helps clean up without being asked, shows Maya how to wash brushes properly, explains that taking care of your tools is how you show respect for your art. Maya absorbs this with the seriousness of religious doctrine. Over pizza that Ethan orders because cooking feels impossible, after the creative chaos, Maya announces her new life plan. I am going to be an artist like the Dragon Lady. We will have a studio together, with big windows, and we will paint all day and Dad can take pictures of our paintings and we will be famous. Ava glances at Ethan. Her expression is complicated, hopeful, and scared. What about being a veterinarian? Ava asks gently. I thought you wanted to help animals. Maya waves this away. I can do both. Being just one thing is boring. Adults do not have imagination. After Maya goes to bed, they sit on the couch with the carefully maintained distance of people still figuring out boundaries. Ava looks around the apartment, at the photography equipment, the overdue bills Ethan forgot to hide. The life of a single father barely holding it together. This is real, she says quietly. Not a question, a statement. This is real, Ethan confirms. The glamorous life of a struggling photographer and his abnormally articulate daughter. Ava shifts closer. I like real. Real is better than the performance I grew up with. Everyone pretending everything was perfect while the foundations rotted. She tells him about her childhood, the Hart family dynamics, how her parents valued appearance over truth, how Chloe learned early to manage perception, how Ava learned to stay quiet and not make waves, how they were raised to believe that family loyalty meant protecting the story even when the story was a lie. Ethan listens, understands more about why she stayed silent during his marriage, why she is choosing differently now. This is her rebellion, choosing honesty over comfort, choosing him over family approval. They kiss on his second-hand couch with Maya's Halloween decorations drying on the kitchen table. It is soft and careful and contains the weight of everything they are risking. When they break apart, Ava says, I am terrified. Me too, Ethan admits. But I would rather be terrified with you than safe and alone. The bubble lasts exactly 6 weeks. 6 weeks of farmers markets and park walks and Maya's birthday party where Ava shows up with a painting she made of a blue dragon eating worries. Maya hangs it above her bed with ceremony, declares it her most prized possession after Worry Eater himself. 6 weeks of building something that feels sustainable. A rhythm where Maya sees Ava twice a week, where they are honest about the relationship but do not force adult complications into a 6-year-old's world. Maya knows they are dating, accepts it with the pragmatism of children who care more about whether people are kind than whether relationships follow traditional scripts. Chloe finds out the way secrets always surface in the age of social media. A mutual acquaintance from the wedding photography world posts a photo from a coffee shop. Tags the location. Algorithms do their work. Someone recognizes Ethan and Ava sitting together. Close. Intimate. Obviously not just friends. Screenshot. Share. 6 degrees of separation collapse into 0. Chloe calls at 9:15 on a Thursday night. Ethan sees her name on the screen and knows. Just knows. He answers anyway. Her voice could freeze water. We need to talk tomorrow. Laurelhurst Park, noon. Do not be late. She hangs up before he can respond. Ethan sits staring at his phone. Ava is at her apartment, but he texts her anyway. Chloe knows. She wants to meet tomorrow. The response comes immediately. I am coming with you. Ethan types back, You do not have to. This will get ugly. Ava, we do this together or not at all. That was the deal. The next morning arrives with weather that feels like cosmic commentary. Bright sun. Clear skies. The kind of day Portland gets maybe 15 times a year. Ethan picks up Ava at 11:30. They drive to the park in silence. Maya is with them because it is his custody day and finding childcare on 4 hours' notice is impossible. She chatters from the back seat about a boy at school who claimed dragons are not real, and she set him straight with facts. They arrive early. Sit on a bench near the playground. Maya runs to the swings, pumps her legs with determination. Ava watches her and says, "Whatever happens, we protect her." That comes first. Always Ethan agrees. Chloe appears at noon exactly. She is wearing black jeans and a leather jacket. Sunglasses despite being under trees. Her heels click against the path with rhythmic precision. She looks like someone who has been preparing for this confrontation. Rehearsing lines, building arguments. She stops in front of their bench, does not sit, stands with arms crossed, looking down at them like a prosecutor before a jury. "Well," she says. Her voice drips with something between fury and satisfaction. "Is not this cozy? My ex-husband and my baby sister, playing family at the park. How very Portland of you both." Ethan stands, tries to keep his voice level. "Chloe, we can explain. Save it." She cuts him off with a hand gesture. "I do not need explanations. I need you both to understand exactly how messed up this is. My sister Ethan, you could have picked anyone. Literally anyone. But you chose the one person guaranteed to destroy what is left of this family." Ava rises slowly. The air between the three of them feels combustible. "Chloe, we can talk about this like adults." Chloe laughs. The sound is sharp enough to cut. "Adults, you want to lecture me about being adults? You knew this was wrong. Both of you knew. And you did it anyway. You let him around my daughter. Let her get attached. Let her call you the dragon lady like you are part of her life. How do you know about that?" Ava asks quietly. Chloe's smile is cold. Maya talks. Children always talk. She told me all about the nice lady who teaches her to paint, the one who knows about dragons. I thought she meant an art teacher from school. Imagine my surprise when I found out it was my own sister. That is when Maya runs over. She has that sixth sense children develop in unstable households, the ability to detect adult conflict from 100 yards away. She stops between them, looking up at her mother with confusion. "Mom, why are you using your angry voice at the dragon lady?" Chloe's face does something complicated. Multiple emotions fighting for dominance. She looks at her daughter, at Ethan, at Ava. For a moment, Ethan thinks she might actually hear how this sounds from a child's perspective. Instead, she kneels down, puts on a smile that does not reach her eyes. "Maya, honey, sometimes grown-ups make very bad choices, and we have to protect you from those choices." Maya crosses her arms, mimics Chloe's earlier posture with eerie accuracy. "If you are talking about Dad and the dragon lady dating, I already know." She makes him laugh. "That is good, right? People should laugh. People should be happy. The simplicity of it hangs in the air. Adults complicate things. Children cut through to truth." Chloe's practiced arguments crash against a 6-year-old's logic. It is more complicated than that. Chloe starts. Maya interrupts. "You always say things are more complicated, but they are not. Dad was sad. Now he is happy. The dragon lady is nice to me. She teaches me things. She does not yell. Why is that bad?" Chloe stands abruptly. "We are leaving. We are getting ice cream and we are going to talk about appropriate relationships and family boundaries. But I want to stay with Dad." Maya protests. "It is his day. Plans change," Chloe says firmly. "Come on." Maya looks at Ethan. He nods even though everything in him wants to fight this. "It is okay, sweetheart. Go with your mom. I will see you next week." But Maya is not done. She turns back to Chloe. Being mean to people who make people happy is wrong, Mom. Even if you are a grown-up. Even if you are family. Chloe takes Maya's hand, walks away without another word. Ethan and Ava watch them go. Neither speaks for a long time. Finally, Ava says what they are both thinking. It is going to get worse before it gets better. She is right. Over the next week, the fallout spreads like wildfire through the Hart family ecosystem. Chloe calls her parents. Her parents call Ava. Long conversations that happen behind closed doors but leak through in Ava's increasingly exhausted face. Her mother cries, asks how she could do this to her sister. Her father sends emails about loyalty and family values and disappointment. 3 generations of family expectations crashing down on the decision to date someone who was technically available but socially forbidden. Ava stops being invited to Sunday dinners. The family text chain goes quiet. Her cousin unfriends her on Facebook. Old friends reach out with concern that barely masks judgment. She gets a call from her aunt in Seattle, who somehow heard and felt compelled to share her thoughts on the sanctity of family bonds. Through all of it, Ava holds steady. Ethan offers multiple times to step back, to make this easier for her. Each time she looks at him like he has suggested something insane. "I am not walking away," she says. "I spent 32 years being the person who walks away to keep peace. I am done. If they cannot handle me choosing honesty over their comfort, that says more about them than me." She handles the family pressure with a grace Ethan does not possess. She does not fight fire with fire, does not match their anger, simply repeats the same truth in different forms. Ethan and Chloe were divorced for 3 years before we matched. I was complicit in protecting a lie that hurt him. I am choosing to do things differently now. If that makes me the villain in your version of the story, I can accept that. The shift begins in an unexpected place. Maya spends a weekend at her grandparents' house. Standard custody arrangement. Ethan drops her off Friday evening and picks her up Sunday afternoon. When he arrives to collect her, Chloe's mother pulls him aside. "Maya gave us quite the speech at dinner last night," she says. Her expression is complicated. Not warm, but not hostile. Ethan's stomach drops. What kind of speech? Mrs. Hart almost smiles. "Apparently, we are all being very silly." Those were her exact words. She stood up in her chair and announced that being mean to people who make people happy is wrong. Even if you are old, even if you are family. Then she said the dragon lady is nice and you smile now, and if we cannot see that, then we need better eyes. Ethan does not know what to say. "I'm sorry if she was disrespectful." Mrs. Hart shakes her head. She was not disrespectful. She was honest. Children often are. It made me think about what we have been doing, how we have been treating Ava, you, all of it. I'm not saying I approve, but I am saying Maya might have a point. It is not forgiveness, not acceptance, but it is a crack in the wall of opposition. According to Chloe's brother, who texts Ava later with updates, the grandparents have been quieter about their objections, less vocal in their support of Chloe's campaign. Chloe herself does not apologize, but the temperature drops from boiling to merely simmering. She stops trying to reduce Ethan's custody time, stops making pointed comments during exchanges. They settle into a cold professionalism that is better than active warfare. At Thanksgiving, Ava is invited to her parents' house for the first time in 6 weeks. The invitation comes via text. Short, formal, but it exists. She asks Ethan if she should go. He tells her that is her choice. She decides yes. Shows up with wine and the determination to be civil. According to her report later that night, it was awkward but survivable. Her mother hugged her. Her father asked polite questions about her teaching. Chloe was there with Maya and managed full sentences without overt hostility. Nobody toasted their relationship, but nobody demanded she leave either. Progress is not linear. Mrs. Hart still makes comments about unconventional situations. Mr. Hart still thinks Ethan was never good enough for his daughter, and this proves it. But they are civil when they see him. They include Ava in family emails again, small steps towards something that might eventually resemble acceptance. One December evening, Ethan and Ava sit in her apartment. She lives in a converted warehouse near Powell's with huge windows and actual organization. Plants that are not just alive but thriving. Art on the walls that she painted. A life she built for herself that is now making room for him and Maya. They talk about the future. About what it would mean to actually build something permanent instead of just surviving the present. Ethan tells her he has been thinking about proposing but does not want to rush. Ava tells him she has been thinking about it too. That she does not feel rushed. That rushed implies something frantic, and this feels deliberate. We are not a fairy tale, she says. We are a complicated story with messy characters and no easy answers. But we are real. I would rather have real than perfect. Ethan agrees completely. They start planning logistics. Not a wedding, not yet, but next steps. Maybe moving in together, combining households, figuring out how to merge her organized systems with his creative chaos. The conversation is interrupted by Ethan's phone, his landlord. The building is being sold. He has 60 days to find a new place. The timing feels simultaneously terrible and perfect, like the universe forcing a decision they were circling anyway. Ava does not hesitate even a second. Move in with me. My place has 2 bedrooms. We can set up Maya's room for when she stays over. You can convert the basement storage into a proper studio. It is not perfect, but it is ours. Ethan thinks about all the ways this could fail. All the complications they have not solved. The family that still judges them. The ex-wife who tolerates but does not approve. Then he thinks about Maya's speech at her grandparents' table. About choosing happiness over fear. Yes, he says, yes, I want that. The move happens over a rainy weekend in January. Friends help carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs. Maya supervises with a clipboard she made from construction paper. She has a list of every item and checks them off with a marker. Takes her role as logistics coordinator very seriously. Chloe shows up around noon with pizza. This surprises everyone, including herself apparently. She hands Ethan the boxes and says Maya asked me to help. I am helping. It is not a blessing. Not approval. But it is presence. It is effort. Ava thanks her. Chloe nods. They do not hug. They do not have a healing conversation. But they exist in the same space without combustion, and that feels like progress. By evening, the apartment is chaos. Boxes everywhere. Furniture in wrong rooms. Nobody can find anything. Maya declares it perfect. Says it looks like an adventure. Curls up on the couch with Worry Eater and falls asleep before dinner. That night, Ethan and Ava lie in their shared bed for the first time. Rain drums on the warehouse windows. The city glows beyond. Maya sleeps down the hall in a room painted blue because she insisted dragons prefer blue. I never thought I would get this, Ava whispers. A second chance at being brave. Ethan pulls her closer. I never thought my thumb slipping would lead to the best decision I ever made. They fall asleep, tangled together. In a home they built from honesty and courage. In a life that requires choosing each other every single day. It is not easy. It is not what anyone expected. But it is theirs. Real and complicated and worth every difficult conversation. 6 months after moving in together, Chloe requests a meeting. Not an ambush in a park. Not a hostile confrontation. A real conversation. She sends an email with the subject line, "Can we talk?" The message is brief and surprisingly neutral. I would like to discuss our co-parenting arrangement and some things I need to say. My place. Saturday at 2 if that works. I will have coffee. Ethan reads it 3 times, looking for hidden landmines. Finds none. Shows it to Ava. She reads it with the careful attention of someone who has learned that her sister's words often contain meanings beneath meanings. This feels different, Ava says, less angry, more tired. Ethan agrees to the meeting, suggests he go alone. Ava overrides this immediately. We are a unit now. What affects you affects me. I am coming. Saturday arrives cold and clear. February in Portland, which means occasional sun between the usual gray. They take the MAX train to the Pearl District because parking near Chloe's building costs more than Ethan used to spend on groceries. Maya is at a birthday party. 6-year-olds celebrating at a trampoline place with the kind of chaos that requires liability waivers. Chloe's apartment building has a doorman who checks their names against a list. Takes them up in an elevator that is cleaner than most hospital operating rooms. The hallway is silent in the way expensive buildings are. Soundproofed, insulated from the noise of actual life. Chloe opens the door before they can knock. She is wearing jeans and a sweater, no makeup, hair in a ponytail. Ethan has seen her dressed down maybe 5 times in the entire span of knowing her. It is disarming. Come in, she says. I made coffee, real coffee, not the instant stuff. The apartment is exactly what Ethan remembers from dropping Maya off. Clean lines. Neutral colors. Art that was purchased to match the furniture rather than because someone loved it. Everything in its place. Nothing that does not serve a clear purpose. It looks like a magazine spread. Like nobody actually lives here. They sit at her dining table. Sleek wood that probably cost more than Ethan's car. Chloe pours coffee from a machine that makes Italian espresso sounds. Hands them cups on saucers that match. Sets out cream and sugar in matching containers. Then she sits. Folds her hands on the table. Takes a breath that suggests she has been practicing this. I have been thinking, she starts. About what Maya said. About happiness. About seeing Ethan smile. And I realized something that has been bothering me for months. I do not remember the last time I saw you actually happy when we were married. The admission lands heavy. Ethan does not know what to do with this version of his ex-wife. Vulnerable, reflective, almost human in her uncertainty. I was not happy either, Chloe continues. Her voice is quiet, measured, like she is reading from notes she made. I think we both knew it, but we stayed because I was raised to believe marriage was about commitment, not happiness. My parents have been together 43 years, and I do not think they have enjoyed a single one. But they stayed. That was the model. So I stayed. And I resented you for staying too, for not being the one brave enough to leave first. Ava sits very still, letting this moment belong to Ethan and Chloe, not inserting herself, just present. The affair, Ethan says. His voice comes out rougher than intended. Did you love him? Chloe looks away, stares at her coffee like it contains answers. No, it was not about love. It was about feeling wanted, feeling seen. You stopped seeing me, Ethan. Somewhere in year 2 or 3, you just stopped. Stopped looking at me like I mattered. And instead of talking about it, instead of fighting for us, I found someone who would look at me like I was worth paying attention to. The honesty is brutal. Ethan feels anger rising and pushes it down, forces himself to hear what she is actually saying beneath the words. I stopped looking because you made it clear I was never enough, he says. Keeps his voice level. I was the struggling artist, the guy who could not provide the life you wanted. Every conversation became a referendum on my failures. Every attempt at connection got met with criticism. So yes, I stopped trying. Because trying meant failing, and I was exhausted from failing. They sit with this truth. The air between them is not warm, but it is not hostile either. Just 2 people finally saying things that should have been said years ago. I am not asking you to forgive me, Chloe says. I do not know if I deserve that. But I am asking you to understand that I never meant to destroy you. I was trying to survive something that was killing me slowly, and I did not have the tools to do it any other way. Ethan nods, finds he can meet this honesty with his own. I was not a good husband. I was so caught up in my own failure that I stopped being a partner. I am sorry for that. Chloe looks surprised, like she expected a fight and got understanding instead. Thank you, she says simply. Then she does something that shocks them both. She turns to Ava. I owe you an apology too. I put you in an impossible position during my marriage, made you complicit in my choices, then blamed you for having the courage to make a different choice. You chose honesty over comfort. I have never been able to do that. Still not sure I can. But I recognize it takes strength I do not have. Ava's eyes are bright. She reaches across the table, does not quite touch Chloe's hand, but the gesture is there. We all did what we thought we had to do. I am not interested in keeping score. I just want to move forward in a way that is healthy for Maya. The conversation shifts to logistics. The boring, necessary details of co-parenting. They talk about schedules and holidays and how to handle school events where they will both be present. They establish boundaries. Agree that Maya should not be put in the middle of adult conflicts, that they will communicate about her needs without using her as a messenger. Chloe brings up something Ethan has been dreading. I know Maya calls Ava the Dragon Lady. I know she's getting attached. I need you both to understand that if this does not work out, if you two break up, it will devastate her. She has already lost the family structure she knew. I cannot watch her lose another person she cares about. Ava speaks before Ethan can. I understand that fear, but I am not planning on going anywhere. This is not casual for me. I am in this for the long term. Chloe studies her sister. Really looks at her maybe for the first time in years. I believe you, she says finally. Which is why I am going to try. Try to be civil. Try to include you in family things when appropriate. Try to stop seeing you as the woman who betrayed me and start seeing you as the woman who is helping raise my daughter. It is not a proclamation of love or acceptance, but it is something. A foundation they can maybe build on. The meeting ends after an hour. They finish their coffee. Make plans for Maya's upcoming school play where they will all need to sit in the same auditorium. Agree to try a family dinner once a month. Just the four of them. To normalize this configuration for Maya. On the train ride home, Ava is quiet, processing. Ethan takes her hand. You okay? He asks. She nods. That was harder than I expected. Hearing her talk about the marriage. Understanding her side. It would be easier if she was just a villain. But she is not, Ethan says. She is just human. We all are. The attempted peace is fragile. It breaks and reforms and breaks again over the following months. At Maya's school play, Chloe sits 2 seats away instead of across the auditorium. Small progress. At the spring concert, she actually makes small talk with Ava about the music teacher. Smaller progress still, but progress. The Hart family remains complicated. Mrs. Hart invites them to Easter dinner, but seats them at the opposite end of the table from Chloe. Mr. Hart asks Ethan polite questions about his photography, but the warmth is performative. Chloe's brother is genuinely kind, but his wife makes comments about family loyalty that are clearly directed at Ava. Maya navigates it all with the diplomacy of a seasoned negotiator. At Easter, she announces loudly that everyone needs to be nice because family dinners are supposed to be happy, and all this tension is ruining her ham. She is 6 years old. The adults are shamed into better behavior. In May, the family gathers for Mrs. Hart's birthday. A backyard barbecue at their house in West Lynn. The kind of event that used to make Ethan want to fake illness. He goes because Maya wants him there. Ava comes because they are a unit now. The afternoon is awkward but survivable. Mr. Hart mans the grill, with the concentration of someone performing surgery. Mrs. Hart flutters around, making sure everyone has drinks and napkins and is not murdering each other. Chloe stays on the opposite side of the yard with her own friends who eye Ethan and Ava with poorly disguised curiosity. Maya plays with her cousins, runs through the sprinkler, gets grass stains on her white dress that will never come out. She is happy, that is what matters. Around 3 p.m. Maya climbs onto a picnic table bench. Ethan sees it happening and knows what is coming. He considers intervening, but Ava puts a hand on his arm. "Let her," she whispers. Maya stands up, raises her voice to be heard over adult conversations. "Excuse me, I have something to say." The yard goes quiet. Every adult turns to look at this child standing on furniture in her grass-stained dress. Grandpa Maya says with the seriousness of someone delivering a State of the Union address. "You are being rude to my dad. That is not okay. Grandma, you too. And Aunt Melissa. And basically everyone. The dragon lady makes my dad happy. My dad makes her happy. That is what grown-ups are supposed to do. Make each other happy. If you cannot be nice, then maybe we should go home because I do not want to be around people who are mean to people I love." The silence that follows is absolute. Every adult stares at this 6-year-old who just delivered a moral lecture with the authority of a Supreme Court justice. Ethan wants to disappear into the earth. Ava looks like she is trying not to cry. Chloe has her hand over her mouth. Then Chloe does something unexpected. She walks across the yard to stand near the picnic table. "Maya is right," she says. Her voice carries. "We have all been rude. I have been rude. Ava is my sister. Ethan is Maya's father. They are together, and they make each other happy and Maya happy. That should be enough. I think we all owe everyone an apology." The barbecue does not transform into a love fest, but the temperature shifts. Mr. Hart clears his throat and offers Ethan a beer. Actually, offers it, makes eye contact. Mrs. Hart asks Ava about her painting with what might be genuine interest instead of polite obligation. Aunt Melissa apologizes quietly and means it. The rest of the afternoon is not comfortable, but it is no longer hostile. They eat burgers and watermelon. Maya plays and laughs. The adults manage conversations that do not contain barbs. It is normal, mostly normal. Normal enough. On the drive home, Maya falls asleep in her car seat. Ethan looks at Ava in the passenger seat. "That is my daughter," he says, "making grown-ups behave since 2020. Ava laughs quietly so she does not wake Maya. She is terrifying. I want to be her when I grow up. That night, after Maya is in bed, they sit on their apartment balcony. The warehouse windows behind them glow warm. Portland spreads below in its familiar pattern of lights and rain-slicked streets. They have been living together for 5 months, have built routines and rhythms, know each other's morning habits and evening moods. It feels permanent in a way Ethan has not felt since before his marriage ended. "I have been thinking about proposing," he says. "Does not plan to say it, but it comes out anyway. But I do not want to rush you. Do not want you to feel pressured." Ava turns to look at him. Her face is serious. "Ethan, I moved in with you. I defended our relationship to my entire family. I co-parent your daughter. I'm not feeling rushed. I'm feeling like you are overthinking. So if I asked," he says slowly, "you would say yes." She kisses him. It tastes like certainty. "I would say yes. But only if you actually ask instead of hypothetically discussing asking." "Not yet," he says. "When I ask, it needs to be right. Intentional. Not a conversation on a balcony." Fair enough, she agrees. "But do not take too long. I am not a patient person." They start planning without calling it planning. Talk about what a wedding would look like if they had one. Ava wants small, intimate, people who actually matter instead of obligatory invitations. Ethan agrees completely. They discuss locations, a garden somewhere. Late summer, when Portland occasionally remembers how to be beautiful. Nothing fancy. Nothing that requires a second mortgage. Maya overhears one of these conversations, announces that she will be the flower girl, and will wear purple because it is her color and also the color of royalty. They try to explain they have not actually decided to get married yet. Maya rolls her eyes. You already live together. You already love each other. The wedding is just the party. Obviously, there will be a party. Her logic is unassailable. In June, Ethan gets a call that changes things. A gallery in Seattle wants to show his work. 20 photographs. A solo show. It is small, not prestigious, but it is legitimate. Someone saw his photos on Instagram and reached out. Wants to feature his Portland Rain series. He tells Ava while she is making dinner. She drops the spoon she's holding. Ethan, this is huge. It is small, he corrects. Nobody gallery. Probably nobody will come. She crosses the kitchen. Takes his face in her hands. Stop diminishing yourself. This is an accomplishment. Let yourself have it. The show opens in July. They drive to Seattle for the weekend. Maya stays with Chloe, who surprises them by saying congratulations and meaning it. The gallery is in Capitol Hill. Small space, good light. His photos on white walls looking more professional than he imagined. 30 people show up for the opening. 30 people who are not family or obligated. 30 people who came to look at his work. 3 photographs sell. Not enough to quit his day job, but enough to feel like maybe he is not completely delusional about his talent. Ava stands next to him the whole night. Introduces herself to strangers as his partner with pride in her voice. When someone asks about the inspiration behind the Rain series, Ethan struggles to answer. Ava steps in. He sees beauty in the things that make other people want to leave. The gray, the wet, the in-between moments. That is his gift. On the drive back to Portland, Ethan realizes something. He has spent years waiting for permission to believe in himself, waiting for external validation. But the real shift happened when Ava looked at him and saw someone worth choosing. Not despite his struggles, but including them. They get home late Sunday night. Maya is already asleep at Chloe's. The apartment is quiet and theirs. They collapse on the couch, still wearing their Seattle clothes. I want to marry you, Ethan says, not hypothetically, not someday. I want to actually do this. Ava sits up, looks at him with eyes that are very serious. Are you proposing right now, on our couch, after a 6-hour drive, while you are wearing a wrinkled shirt? No, Ethan says. When I propose, it will be better than this. But I needed you to know that I am sure that this is not convenient or practical. This is, I cannot imagine my life without you. She kisses him, slow and deep and full of promise. Good, she says when they break apart. Because I cannot imagine mine without you either. 2 weeks later, Ethan has a plan. He takes Ava back to the coffee shop in Alberta Arts where they had their first real conversation. The place where she told him the truth about his marriage, where they started building something honest. He reserves the same corner table, arrives early. His hands shake while he waits. The ring in his pocket feels impossibly heavy. He chose it carefully. Thin gold band with a small blue stone. Blue for dragons that eat worries. Blue for Maya's favorite color. Blue for new beginnings. Ava arrives at 2, sees him at their table and smiles. This is very specific nostalgia, she says, sitting down. What are you up to? The barista brings their usual orders without asking. Remembers them. Ethan takes this as a good sign. He tells her a story about a man who thought he was broken, who carried the weight of his own failure like a stone, who learned to apologize for existing. And then one night his thumb moved across a screen, and everything changed. I spent a long time calling it an accident, he says. It was easier that way, less scary. If it was an accident, I did not have to take responsibility for wanting something, for choosing something everyone said was wrong. Ava listens with complete attention. Her coffee cools untouched in front of her. But it was not an accident, Ethan continues. Maybe my thumb slipped. Maybe I was half asleep. But some part of me saw your profile and chose you. Some part of me knew. And I am done letting the word accident carry all the weight of my courage. He reaches across the table, takes both her hands. The ring is in his pocket, but he leaves it there for one more moment. Ava Hart. A year and a half ago, my thumb was braver than the rest of me. It is time I caught up. Will you marry me? Not by accident, not by fate, but because I choose you on purpose, every single day, for the rest of my life. Ava cries, laughs, does both simultaneously. Yes, she says. Yes, you ridiculous man, yes. He pulls out the ring, slides it onto her finger. It fits perfectly because he stole one of her other rings to get the size. The blue stone catches light. Looks like water, looks like sky, looks like hope. Looks, the barista with the nose ring claps. Other customers applaud. Someone buys them champagne even though it is 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. It is a small moment and an enormous one. That night they tell Maya. She is eating dinner. Chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs because regular shapes are boring. They sit down on either side of her. We have news, Ava starts. Maya looks up, suspicious. Her news detector is highly calibrated. Good news or grown-up news that you are pretending is good. Good news, Ethan says. Ava and I are getting married. Maya considers this, chews her dinosaur nugget thoughtfully. Will there be cake? Yes, Ava confirms. There will be cake. Can I wear purple? You can wear whatever color you want. Then it is good news, Maya declares. When is the wedding? Late summer, Ethan says. August maybe. Maya nods with satisfaction. That gives me time to practice my flower girl walk. I have been watching videos. There's a technique. Of course there is, Ava says. Of course you have been preparing. They plan a small wedding. 40 people maximum. A garden on Sauvie Island that rents for weekend events. Late August when the weather is most likely to cooperate. Mason jars with wildflowers. String lights. A ceremony they write themselves about choosing love even when it is complicated. The guest list is delicate. Ava's parents. Chloe. The Hart extended family. Ethan's few remaining friends. Ava's teaching colleagues. Maya's grandparents from Ethan's side who he barely speaks to, but who deserve to know their granddaughter will be at a wedding. Chloe surprises them by offering to help. She knows a caterer, can recommend a photographer since Ethan obviously cannot shoot his own wedding. Offers to take Maya dress shopping because 6-year-olds have opinions and someone needs to manage them. The planning happens through summer. Small decisions that add up to something larger. They taste cakes, sample flowers, argue about whether to do a first dance or skip it entirely. Maya insists on both a flower girl and a ring bearer role and recruits her cousin to help. She takes her responsibilities with the gravity of someone planning a state dinner. Through it all, the family dynamics continue to shift and settle. Not perfect, not healed, but functional. Chloe comes to a dress fitting and gives actual helpful advice. Mrs. Hart hosts a small engagement party. Mr. Hart makes a toast that is only slightly awkward. Ava's brother flies in from Boston and tells Ethan he is good for his sister. Means it. The night before the wedding, Ethan cannot sleep. He sits on their balcony watching Portland prepare for dawn. Ava finds him there at 5 a.m. Second thoughts, she asks. Her voice is calm, like she will understand if the answer is yes. No, he says. The opposite. I am thinking about how different my life is from 2 years ago, how much has changed because of one careless swipe. It was not careless, Ava says. Sits next to him, takes his hand. It was your subconscious being smarter than your fear. They watch the sky lighten, watch their city wake up. In a few hours, they will get married. Will make promises in front of people who doubted them. Will build something permanent from something that started as an accident that was never really an accident at all. Are you ready? Ava asks. Ethan kisses her. Tastes coffee and courage, and the future they chose together. I have been ready since the moment you messaged me back. August 23rd arrives with weather that feels like a gift. Clear skies. Temperature in the mid-70s. The kind of Pacific Northwest day that makes you forget the 9 months of gray. Sauvie Island sits 20 minutes outside Portland proper farm country and you pick berry fields, and the kind of rural quiet that feels impossible this close to the city. The garden they rented belongs to a couple who started growing dahlias as a retirement project and accidentally created something magical. Rows of flowers in every color. A small pond with actual ducks. An old barn converted into an event space with string lights already hung from the rafters. Mason jars line the tables. Wildflowers overflow from vintage bottles. It looks like someone's Pinterest board came to life, except real, lived in, imperfect in the ways that matter. Ethan arrives at noon, even though the ceremony is not until 5. Cannot help himself. Needs to see the space, needs to make sure it is real. His best man from college shows up an hour later with the rings and a flask of whiskey for nerves. They sit on the porch of the barn, watching the setup crew arrange chairs in neat rows. You good? His friend asks. Passes the flask. Ethan takes a drink, hands it back. I am better than good. I am terrified and certain simultaneously. That is called being ready, his friend says. Across the island in a farmhouse, the owners converted into a bridal suite, Ava is surrounded by women. Her mother, who still does not fully approve, but showed up anyway. 2 friends from teaching. Maya, who appointed herself quality control inspector and takes the role seriously. Chloe, who arrived an hour ago with the dress that needed final alterations and stayed because apparently she is helping now. The dress is simple. White linen that moves when Ava moves. No train, no elaborate beading, just clean lines and a fit that makes her look like herself, only more so. Her hair is down in loose waves. Minimal makeup because she does not wear much normally and her wedding day seems like the wrong time to start. Maya wears purple as negotiated. A dress with tulle that poofs when she spins. She has been spinning for 45 minutes, has made everyone dizzy watching. She clutches a small basket that will hold flower petals and a blue dragon pin that Ava gave her this morning. For luck, Ava said. For eating any worries that show up uninvited. Chloe finishes adjusting the dress hem. Steps back. Looks at her sister with an expression that contains too many emotions to name. You look beautiful, she says. The words cost her something, but she means them. Thank you, Ava says. For being here, for all of this. I know it is not easy. Chloe shakes her head. Maya was right. About happiness. About choosing it. I am still learning how to do that. But I can start by being here for you. Mrs. Hart dabs her eyes with a tissue. Makes a sound that might be crying or might be allergies. Mr. Hart texted an hour ago that he is on his way. Did not specify if he is coming to support or witness or simply fulfill obligation. But he is coming, that is something. At 4:30, the guests begin arriving. 43 people in the end. More than planned, but less than a traditional wedding. They park in the grass field designated for parking. Walk the path to the garden. Take seats on white folding chairs that look nicer than white folding chairs have any right to look. Ethan watches from the barn doorway. His parents sit in the 3rd row looking uncomfortable but present. Ava's extended family fills 2 rows. Cousins, aunts, uncles who came because family obligations are real even when approval is not. Chloe's brother and his wife. Friends from Ethan's photography world. Teachers from Ava's school, the barista with the nose ring from the coffee shop in Alberta Arts, who got an invitation and actually came. Maya practices her walk for the 17th time. She has been counting, has a system, slow steps, pause, scatter petals, repeat. She is wearing sparkly purple shoes that light up when she walks, insisted on them. Said the wedding needed more magic and light-up shoes are scientifically proven to increase magic by 40%. The ceremony starts at 5 exactly. A string quartet plays something classical that Ava chose because she said it sounded like hope. The guests stand, turn toward the makeshift aisle lined with dahlias in shades of coral and pink and deep burgundy. Maya goes first, walks with the solemnity of someone carrying nuclear codes, scatters petals with precision, each handful distributed evenly. When she reaches the front, she turns and gives a thumbs up. Several people laugh. She seems pleased with herself. Then Ava, walking alone because she said she did not need someone to give her away. She belongs to herself, is choosing this freely. Her father offered. She declined gently. He looked hurt, but accepted it. She walks down the aisle and Ethan forgets how to breathe. Has seen her every day for 18 months, but this is different. This is her choosing him in front of everyone. Choosing him despite the complications, despite the family drama, despite every reason this should not work. She reaches the front, takes his hands. Her eyes are bright but not crying yet. He is already crying, cannot help it. The officiant is a friend of Ava's from art school who got ordained online specifically for this. She welcomes everyone. Makes a joke about Portland rain that lands well, then turns serious. We are here, she says, because 2 people made a choice. Not an easy choice, not a convenient choice, but a brave one. They chose honesty over comfort. They chose each other over approval. They chose to build something real even when the world gave them every reason not to. Ethan reads his vows from a piece of paper he has folded and unfolded so many times the creases are wearing through. His hand shakes, but his voice stays mostly steady. Ava. 2 years ago, my thumb moved across a screen and changed my life. I spent a long time calling it an accident because accidents are safe. They do not require courage. But it was not an accident. Some part of me that was braver than my fear chose you before my conscious mind caught up. Today, I am catching up. Today, I am choosing you on purpose. I promise to tell you the truth even when it is hard. To show up for you and for Maya every single day. To build a life based on honesty instead of performance. To never hide behind the word accident when what I mean is choice. I choose you, always, on purpose. Ava does not have paper, speaks from memory or maybe just from her heart. Ethan, you taught me that it is never too late to be brave, that choosing happiness is not selfish, it is necessary. You saw me when my own family could not. You let me be complicated and uncertain and still loved me anyway. I promise to choose you every single day, to build a home where Maya feels safe, where we tell the truth and eat too much pasta and let dragons eat our worries. I promise to be your partner in all of it. The beautiful parts and the hard parts and the boring parts that make up most of life. I was done being a coward before I met you. But you taught me what courage actually looks like. Thank you for that. Thank you for choosing me back. The rings are simple gold bands. Maya carries them on a pillow she decorated herself with fabric, paint, and glitter. She takes her job seriously, hands them over with ceremony. Whispers loudly, "Do not drop them. They are expensive." More laughter. Ethan slides the ring onto Ava's finger. She does the same for him. The metal is warm from being in Maya's possession. Warm like the life they are building. The officiant pronounces them married. Ethan kisses Ava and the guests applaud, and Maya shouts, "Finally." Can we have cake now? The reception happens in the barn as the sun starts its slow descent. Dinner is barbecue from a food truck they hired. Brisket and pulled pork and vegetarian options because Ava insisted. The cake is 3 tiers of lemon lavender that Maya tested 4 times during planning to make sure it met her standards. There are toasts. Ethan's best man tells embarrassing college stories. Ava's teaching friend talks about watching her become brave. Chloe stands up unexpectedly, taps her glass. The barn goes quiet. My sister Chloe starts. Her voice wavers but holds. My sister has always been the brave one. I just never recognized it until recently. She had the courage to tell the truth when the rest of us were hiding behind lies. The courage to choose happiness even when it disappointed people. The courage to love someone everyone said she should not love. Ava, you taught me that family is not about protecting the story we want to tell. It is about protecting the people we love. Thank you for that lesson. Ethan, take care of her. And also thank you for being a better person than I gave you credit for. She sits down quickly, wipes her eyes. Ava crosses the barn and hugs her. They hold each other for a long moment. The barn stays respectfully silent. Something is healing here that needed healing. Mr. Hart stands next, clears his throat, looks uncomfortable but determined. I have not always understood my daughters, he says. I was raised to believe family meant agreement. Unity at all costs. But Maya taught me something at Easter. She said being mean to people who make people happy is wrong. Even if you are old. She was right. I was wrong. Ava, Ethan. I am sorry for making this harder than it needed to be. I am working on being better. On choosing happiness for my family instead of my idea of what family should look like. More tears, more hugs. The Hart family is not fixed, but it is bending toward something better. The dancing starts around 8. They do their first dance to a song about second chances. Slow, intimate. Everyone watches. Halfway through, Maya runs onto the dance floor and inserts herself between them. They lift her up. Dance as 3. This is the family. This is what they chose. Ethan dances with his mother, who flew in from Arizona and barely knows what to say but is trying. Ava dances with her father, who holds her too tight and apologizes again. Maya dances with everyone who will let her, which is everyone. She is the heart of this gathering. The reason half these people are being civil to each other. As the sun sets, the string lights come on. The garden glows golden. Guests migrate outside to see the last of the daylight turn everything soft. Ethan and Ava slip away to the pond. Stand at the edge, watching ducks settle for the night. No hiking on the honeymoon, Ava says. It has become their running joke. Just enough for photos, Ethan agrees. 2 photos maximum. Then pasta, Ava finishes. She leans into him. We did it. We did, Ethan confirms. Against all reasonable odds. Maya finds them there, takes their hands. The ducks are going to sleep, she announces. We should probably get cake before it is all gone. The cousins are eating a lot. They walk back to the barn together. 3 people who became a family not through biology or obligation, but through intentional choice, through showing up, through telling the truth, through letting a 6-year-old be wiser than the adults around her. The party continues past dark. Someone makes a bonfire in the designated fire pit. Guests gather around with drinks and stories. The Hart family and Ethan's family and friends from different parts of their lives all mixing, not perfectly. There are still awkward silences, still people who do not fully understand or approve, but they are here. They are trying. Around 10, Maya falls asleep on a blanket near the fire. Purple dress dirty from dancing. Flower basket abandoned. Blue dragon pin still attached to her collar. Ethan carries her to the car, buckles her in carefully. She stirs, mumbles something about dragons and cake and whether heaven has sprinklers because the one at the venue was very cool. The last guests leave around 11. Ava and Ethan stay to help clean up, even though the venue staff insists they do not have to. They stack chairs, collect mason jars, blow out candles. The owners tell them to leave the rest. Go be married. Enjoy it. They drive back to Portland with Maya sleeping in the back seat and their whole lives ahead of them. The city appears in the distance. Lights and bridges and the river reflecting everything back doubled. Home. They're home now. All three of them. At the apartment, Ethan carries Maya to her room. Tucks her in without changing her clothes because waking her seems cruel. Ava removes the blue dragon pin, sets it on the nightstand where Maya will find it tomorrow and remember. They collapse on their bed, still wearing wedding clothes. Too tired to change. Too happy to care. Ava curls into Ethan's side. He wraps his arms around her. They fit together like they were designed for this. I never thought I would get this, Ava whispers into the dark. A second chance at being brave. Ethan kisses the top of her head. I never thought my thumb slipping would lead to the best decision I ever made. It was not your thumb, Ava says. It was you. Choosing something you wanted. Finally letting yourself want something. They fall asleep tangled together. In the apartment they share. In the life they built from honesty and courage and the willingness to choose each other over and over. It is not easy. It never will be. The Hart family will have bad days. Chloe will struggle with complicated feelings. Maya will navigate divided loyalties. There will be arguments and setbacks and moments when the whole thing feels too hard. But they chose this. They keep choosing this. That is the difference between an accident and a decision, between falling into something and building it with intention. In her room, Maya sleeps with Worry Eater tucked under one arm and dreams of blue dragons eating all the worries in the world. In the morning, she will wake up and demand pancakes and want to hear every detail of the reception she fell asleep during. She will wear her flower girl dress for 3 more days until Ava gently suggests maybe pajamas are more comfortable. She will tell everyone at school that her dad married the dragon lady, and they are a family now, and families are made by choice, not accidents. She will be right. She is usually right. Outside their window, Portland settles into its familiar nighttime rhythm. Sirens, music from distant bars. The hum of a city that contains multitudes. Rain starts to fall. Gentle, persistent, exactly right. Ethan and Ava sleep through it. Tomorrow they will wake up married. Will make coffee and burn toast and argue about whether the honeymoon should include any hiking at all. Will call family members and thank them for coming. Will start the ordinary work of being married, which is mostly just showing up and telling the truth and choosing each other when it would be easier not to. But tonight they sleep. In a home they built together. In a life that started with a swipe that was never really an accident. In the certainty that comes from choosing love on purpose. The blue dragons, wherever they live, are very pleased with this outcome. They have eaten all the worries. There is only room now for what comes next, whatever that might be. Together.